Again, checking integrity. Always look on the bottoms of these, okay? These end up sitting on a metal rack in the OR or in some holding area. People will drag them off that metal rack, and it's not infrequent that they have holes down in these corners. Some of the hospitals put pads in those corners to help prevent that, but nevertheless, they're prone to that. Sometimes you'll have an instrument that has a bit of a sharp edge that'll, because this thing gets jostled around, it pokes through. But always check the bottom before you open it. I also want to mention this tape real quickly. See this tape, you know it's got those black marks on it? Tell us what that means.
It means that it's been processed through the sterilizer.
It's a special tape. And when it's been processed, it changes color. We call these things indicators. You're looking for indicators. And in the case of hospital wrapped things, you tend to have tapes like that. There are different kind of indicators that go into pouches like this. And even the pouch itself is an indicator because it has little spots on it. You're going to want to check that. Likely there is a date written on it that says it's good for a certain amount of time. So you're checking all that stuff. This has flaps on it as well. There's a particular way that these types of things are folded. You'll see that it's repetitive. The same general folding technique applies to gowns and a lot of other things. Again, break tape. This little tab is for you to get a hold of. And open away first, right? Always away. Then open the sides. Be mindful though, that if I'm not careful, this side will touch my field over there and that'll be contamination. Another thing that'll happen, sometimes this paper, this fabric if you will, it's kind of stiff. And sometimes when you go to open it, one of the other tabs will want to close back up on itself. So be mindful of that. Watch for it. This stuff's been used a lot, it's pretty floppy. But the newer stuff tends to be pretty stiff. And the last thing I open is the flap that is toward myself. Okay? Next thing is, we want you to verbalize something. We want you to look for something, and we want you to tell us that you're looking for it. I want you to look in there and see if you can see indicators. I don't know if you can see it. See a little piece of paper right there? I'll touch it so you can see it. I wouldn't normally touch it, okay?
You wouldn't touch that.
Yeah. See that? That's an indicator. Usually it lives in there.
And sometimes there's multiple of them, like,
You want to look in there. If you can see it, see if it's changed. Sometimes you can't tell. Sometimes it's tucked underneath something or it's flipped the wrong way. But we want you to say, we want you to verbalize that you're checking the indicators. Indicator looks good. You can just verbalize that. Indicator looks good, and then you can move on.
How is that indicator telling?
It tells us that it has been through the process. Okay, so indicators, a set of instruments